So today, we're going to dive into a really powerful piece of writing. It documents this incredible journey from, the absolute depths of psychological horror all the way to a place of real strength and healing. We're going to follow that path from being broken down to being built back up and see the key moments that made it all possible.
All right, so where does this all start? Well, like a lot of these stories, it begins in a place of confusion, of pain. The source material doesn't sugarcoat it at all. It drops us right into the middle of this silent suffering that's just screaming for an explanation.
And boom, this is the question that kicks everything off. Why the unspoken? You can feel that it's aimed at some destructive force, someone who's trying to make sense of actions that feel completely senseless. It's the sound of someone just wrestling with why. Why are they the target of this kind of worthless, destructive behavior?
Okay, so to really get the impact here, we have to first understand the source of the pain. The text is great because it doesn't leave us guessing. It gives us this really detailed breakdown, almost like an anatomy of the very thing it calls a monster.
This right here, this is the core of it. We're not talking about some big, complicated, evil mastermind. No, it's much simpler and maybe even scarier. It's about a basic lack of care, a cruelty that just defines this person. This is the bedrock for everything else they do.
And what's really fascinating is how this profile gets built. You see this mix of personal traits, right? Unpleasant, distrustful, but then you get this weird paradox. This person thinks they're so clever, but they exist in such a, stupid way. And that internal clash seems to fuel all their actions, misusing power, belittling people, destroying things. In the end, the text just calls them a lost soul, someone who acts with absolutely no honor, no respect, and no care.
So we've got a picture of the antagonist. Now the focus shifts to the consequences, and they are devastating. This isn't just about what the bully does. It's about what happens inside the person they're targeting. It's a total deconstruction of the self. And this is where the damage gets really insidious. The narrator starts to take on the identity of their own attacker. That label that was once for the monster, it becomes a self-description. This constant, relentless negativity just chips away at their self-worth, making them feel smaller and smaller, more insignificant, until they feel completely erased. And that's the bully's ultimate goal, isn't it? To make their target truly believe they are worthless, not even worth talking about.
But then we get this. This is such a moment of clarity in the text. It's this acknowledgement that, yes, the mind has been hurt, your perception of yourself has been twisted and warped, and this is so important, the core of who you are, the seeds, they're still there. They haven't changed.
And that realization, that's the spark. It's the absolute turning point of this entire story, where the victim basically says, no more. I will not be a passive punching bag for this cruelty any longer.
This right here is the catalyst. It's not some big event that happens to them. It's a deep internal decision. It's the exact moment the narrator stops just taking the damage and starts planning how to rebuild. It's the choice to take back their power.
And check this out. This slide just shows that power shift perfectly. Over on the left, you've got the monster's playbook, belittling, destroying, misusing power. But look at the right, it's the direct answer. To fight the destruction, the narrator knows, I need firmness and strength. To fight the misuse of power, they decide, I need to strip away powers. It's a conscious, direct reversal of everything being thrown at them.
Okay, so you've made the decision to fight back, but how do you actually do it? The source is great here because it doesn't just leave you with a feeling. It lays out a really clear, step-by-step process for rebuilding yourself from the rubble.
So the source gives us this clear 4-step plan. And I want you to notice the order here. It's so important. It starts with an internal promise. First, build me anew. Then it moves outward. Break my silence. And that act, speaking out, gives the power for the next internal step. Be my deserved self, which finally leads to the practical part of finding support, get help, and achieve my rights. It's this incredible flow from inside to out and back in again.
And that last step, getting help, it leads to this massive realization. The isolation that a bully thrives on, it's just an illusion. Finding that support network is a huge part of breaking the spell and seeing that you are definitely not alone in this fight.
All right, this brings us to the final act. And it's not just about healing, getting back to how things were before. It's about breaking that whole cycle, and coming out the other side is something new, something much, much stronger.
I mean, wow, what a powerful image, right? This is the peak of the transformation. That feeling of being tiny and useless is completely gone. It's been replaced by the feeling of having the strength of a mountain. The entire power dynamic has been flipped on its head.
So what's the end result of all this struggle? It's the creation of a single, whole new self. It's not about just patching up what was broken. It's about forging a brand new identity in that fire.
And this is what that victory looks like. This is the new order. You see a new sense of direction. My soul finds its way. An incredible resilience, cutting through hardship. This all leads to a whole new outlook, seeing light of a new day. And it all ends in this amazing triumph of self-worth. I stand tall in time. And, finally, become what I deserve.
And so you see, we come right back to that central message of hope. It's this powerful reminder that no matter how bad the damage is, no matter the trauma, the core of who you are, your potential, your worth, your spirit, it's resilient. It's still there.
And that's where this whole journey leaves us, with a final, empowering question aimed right at you. It takes everything we've just seen and kind of hands it over. It acknowledges that the timing is personal, when you are ready, but it frames standing up not as a question of if you will, but how you will. A pretty powerful thought to end on.